Well, Peter, it was really good to hear from you after the game at Forest Green, and you were very honest in terms of perhaps what had been said within the dressing room and the job that you guys have got to do. What's the atmosphere been like at the training ground this week ahead of a big weekend?
It's been positive, to be honest with you. It had to be. It was obviously disappointment after the game at the weekend down at Forest Green, but we get another opportunity, and we now go into the game on Saturday against Colchester with, we've worked hard on the training ground. We've left no stone unturned about the way we're going to play, how we're going to play, the whys and wherefores, what we feel will be, the strengths and weaknesses of Colchester. We'll be going out fully versed and in the knowledge of what needs to be done. But having said all of that, your original question, there's been real positivity around the building and around the training ground, and good level of training. So we go into the game full of confidence, ready for it, and ready to take the opportunity.
I'd imagine you've been in different types of dressing room in your career, but the ones that do show a bit of fight and a bit of passion, albeit those things may not be very nice to hear, but is that what you want to see?
Yeah, I've been in various dressing rooms through the course of my career, and there's been full-on fights. Make no bones about it. When people disagree, there's been full-on fights. There's been words said and actions taken. But that shows there's a level of commitment. That shows that people care. So I'm not saying that's the right way. I'm not saying that's the wrong way. But when people care, they get emotional. We've got a group of players that care, but we've also got to keep emotions in check as well on Saturday and make sure that we do everything within our capabilities to be in the best possible position to get the result that we want, the result that we need, and to do that in the most efficient way possible.
Where do you think that frustration came from, Peter?
The frustration of what? Sorry.
Well, the frustration perhaps in the dressing room, perhaps players quite rightly asking people to pull their socks up. Is that rooted in the fact that ultimately players know that they're capable of so much more than perhaps you showed at Forest Green?
Yeah, I don't think it was just necessarily the Forest Green performance in isolation that brought out the frustration. We've had various opportunities over the course of probably the last 4, 5, 6 weeks, and for whatever reason, we've not taken the opportunities in the fullest. We've not, come out with as many positive results as we would have perhaps liked. That's circumstance. That's the hand we've been dealt, and now we've got to deal with that. We've got to make sure that we go into the game on Saturday with no hangovers. Whatever is going before us gone, it's done. And as I said before, we have an opportunity to make sure we're in the playoff positions come tea time on Saturday.
And a sign of a good team is not necessarily how you lose, it's how you respond to losing.
Of course, we talk out there on the training pitch. There's not a player in football that doesn't make a mistake. The Ronaldos, the Messis, the top players, they all make mistakes. Each and every one that plays, they're brave going out on the pitch, but everyone makes mistakes. But the key thing is how you react to them. And we've got to make sure that any mistakes, any possible disappointments, that collectively we react in the best way that we can.
You said earlier about keeping emotions in check. Is there any way you can try and do that for a game like Saturday, where, yes, in theory you need a point, but I'm assuming the manager will be telling you to go and get the win?
Yeah, of course we want to win every game we play, and I suppose that there's a slightly bigger edge on the game on Saturday than maybe perceivably in other games we've had this season. But it's another game. If you have good habits, if you train properly, if you live your life properly, if you eat correctly, if you hydrate properly, all those things, they take care of the bigger picture. So come Saturday, you know you're in the best possible place to perform to your maximum.
And you're sorry.
No, you're all right. Yeah, it gives you the best opportunity to perform to your maximum. And when you've done everything, you've gone through a process, I suppose, through the course of a week and the build up to a game, and you know you're properly prepared. There's lads there with lots of experience, even the younger players, lots of experience, that they know what they're doing on a football pitch. So the key is the preparation and then everything that goes into making sure you're ready to be at your best come Saturday at 3:00.
And finally, from me, that the football gods have dictated that Forest Green's are to go to your old club, Oldham. So have you picked up the phone at all this week?
No, I mean, to be honest with you, there's been a big turnaround in players since I was at Oldham. I'm not sure there's too many, if any, that are still there, to be honest with you. But you know that's I suppose a game that has a bearing on the rest of our campaign. But the key issue is that we have everything in our own hands to make sure we're in those playoff places. We've a home game against a team that we believe we've got enough within our squad to overcome, and we'll be going into the game doing everything we possibly can to make sure that that's the case.
That's all from me. Thank you for your time, Peter.
A pleasure.
Peter, there's been, plenty of clean sheets recently, and if you keep one on Saturday, you're in the playoffs. But in a scenario where if you fell a goal behind, how important it is that the players just keep themselves level-headed and don't, fall into the trap of heads going down, because there has been situations in the last couple of months where Tranmere have gone a goal behind and just not been able to overturn it.
Yeah, you're right. I suppose there's some of the emotions I'm talking about, and as I spoke about last week after the Forest Green game, if as players, if as people, you can stay perhaps on that even keel, never get too high, never get too low. Don't get me wrong, there's things in life and in football where you do perhaps go to one end of the spectrum or the other, but if you can keep yourself in check and stay in that middle ground and not get too emotional in terms of getting too high or too low, keep doing the right things, keep playing the way that we've worked on the training pitch through the course of the week, then we've got a belief that we can do what's necessary to make sure we're in those playoff places at tea time Saturday.
As James said before, and he said in your interview last Saturday, there's a few stern words discussed or exchanged in the dressing room after the Forest Green game. In your experience, is that the type of thing that helps a team in the long term to overcome any difficulties it's had? Would you call them clear the air talks, and is it better for people to get stuff off the chest and try and just move forward?
To be honest with you, the way I live life is, is that way. If I've got something to say, I'll say it. And if people like it, so be it. If they don't, no problem. People are entitled to their own opinion. But there were a couple of the lads that had things to say after the game Saturday, and they were right with what they were saying. It's whatever's said on a football pitch or in a dressing room or on a training field, contrary to popular belief, is never, ever personal. It's only for the better of the team, only to make individuals better, to make the collective better. So if people take it in the right way and use it as motivation, then without doubt it's good. If people don't and they feel it's personal and they want to be a victim, then that's no use to anyone. It's about standing up and being counted and proving your worth.
Yeah, I think that whole thing about in play criticism or discussion. It kind of applies at all levels of football, isn't it? You only need to play six-a-side midweek and play a straight pass, and you know you'll have a teammate criticising you, but that's all forgotten by the time you walk off the field, isn't it? Do you think there has been some circumstances maybe when players might have just taken criticism home with them and stewed on it, and that might have affected performances the following week?
I don't know. Maybe maybe that's society as a whole. Maybe that's the way football's going. I don't know, but I believe if players are, I think you've got to look at yourself first. And as much as people might like to think they're perfect, there's no one in this world I've met yet that is perfect. We've all got, parts to our character, parts to our place of work, or our job that we could be better at. So, each and every one of us can improve on a daily basis and be the best that we can be. And criticism is only there to aid and benefit each other if it's taken in the right way. I can't vouch for everyone if everyone takes it in the right way, but as I said before, nothing's ever personal on a football pitch or on a training ground, or we're all teammates and we all want the same thing.
And the game on Saturday, I mean, it's really do or die now, isn't it? We've spoken about how Tranmere have had opportunities over the last few weeks, to either put the playoffs to bed or secure a place in automatic promotion, and a lot of these chances have been missed. And you're not helped, of course, by the fact that there's no crowd in there to keep that intensity going at all times. But do you think this particular game now, with there being so much at stake, just adds that extra edge that will probably push people forward and get the job done?
Yeah, as you say, I think it's been not all clubs are lucky enough to have fans like ours, and I suppose in a sense we've been hit harder than most, whereby the fact we've not been able to have fans in the ground for the whole of the season, other than a couple of games. With fantastic support, we take great support away from home, and they make a massive difference. Yeah, I mean, Saturday, the various permutations that are on the game, it should be motivation in itself that each and every one of the lads that are in the squad and each and every one of the lads that are selected to play, that they know exactly what's at stake. They know exactly what they need to do to make sure that the team, the club, and everyone comes out on top of the fixture, having done what we need to do to get in those playoff spots.